EVPRadio.com. A new drummer for a new awakening.
Hello, the gold leaves are falling around here. Can you feel it in the air? It is now October and it's almost Halloween time. And we have Joseph Grych with us today, and he is one of my favorite brothers on the show. How you doing, Joe?
I'm fine, Ann Marie. How are you?
Great. Are you getting ready for the autumn and baking and doing all the stuff I know you love to do on the cold weather?
Oh, it's my favorite holiday, favorite fall holiday.
Yep.
I got my orange string of lights in the front windows, and it's understated, but it's just nice enough to be bright and slightly dark because they're the orange Halloween color. And I've already made 2 pumpkin pies already, and I plan on making a few more before the
Oh,
season is out, definitely. And I haven't bought my Halloween candy yet, though, for the
do
trick-or-treaters.
you get a lot of trick-or-treaters?
Not a lot. I'd say only about 30 in a good year. Last year was more like about 20.
Well, and see, I am the psychic in a redneck town.
Well, this is kind of a redneck town. It's only 200 people here, less than 200 people, and it's a town that's only five
Wow.
blocks.
Well,
The
I guess,
town is only 5 blocks large. We're surrounded by cornfields, but kids are driven out from surrounding areas where they don't live in town, but they live out on the farm someplace.
right?
We see the vans pull up and the kids spill out, and then they go up and down the streets in town. And I guess that's how it's always been done out here. Anybody that's grown up out here has that memory of being driven into town for trick or treating. It's a very small town.
Well, I have to say that we've probably got you beat by about, maybe 205.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
The big city.
Yeah, well, both of so we are at what we are called a sleeper town.
Oh.
And sleeper towns are those little towns in between all the big cities that basically we are the ones where people come to get cheap rent, and then they can go and drive to their jobs in the metropolises or the bigger cities, maybe in a distance of 25, 30 miles in all directions.
Yeah, this town here is not a destination. There's nothing here. We don't have a gas station. We don't. We do have a post office and a fire station, and that's it. We have a town mayor.
Yep. And you wonder
That's it.
but it's amazing, even in a small
Mm.
town, how complex and stupid, but complex some of the issues can be. I mean, we've had 2 murders in this town. Um, the first murder was made national news. Her name was Tracy. And she lived in the haunted Victorian home, and she was
Oh.
from Illinois, and she was on the outskirts of town, and she did my tattoo eyeliner. And I remember she was just a very reserved,
Hmm.
very, the kind of person you would see in a bank.
Okay.
Um, no one would have known that she had 3 or 4 husbands on the line, that she tried to kill each one of them. And so she and her husband from Australia lived in this huge lavender Victorian home, and their computer guy was invited by Tracy to come and visit. And somewhere along the line, I'm not sure what happened. The children were put into a room upstairs. He tried to strangle her with a nylon, so the story goes. Um, he dragged her kicking and screaming up the stairs into the back bedroom. And from there, somehow she miraculously on her belly, being thrown around by her ankles, found a way to undo the safe and pull out 2 revolvers and shoot the poor boy, who was 21, about 9 or 10 times,
Oh,
including when he was crawling across the floor.
that's
So
terrible.
yes, well, it
But you
turned
know
out
what? That is not a home invasion intruder thing. That isn't right. That's a um,
that
dom- internal, personal, domestic issue of some kind. You know, like for instance, okay, we haven't had murders here like ever. I mean, there's like no crime here. But that doesn't mean that someone can't move in and then they like end up killing each other in this house. You know what I mean? That is not okay. This is not a crime area in the sense that we have to worry about break-ins and thieves and people coming from the outside and you know what I mean. It's not like crime that from strangers. Um,
right.
like the issue that you told me is that she apparently had already had this weird energy with her.
Well, what it turned out is that she had been having an affair with a boy,
See, it's
and
it's her
that
thing. Yeah,
and so she she finally got thrown in jail, and then shortly after that, another young man got out of prison, and he stabbed his mother, I think 9 times on a in a country farmhouse. And then he proceeded to get in his car and drive up randomly to a house and tell them that he needed their help, and would they help him. He walked he walked about from the end of the block to the house. He said, "I'm having car problems. I need help. Can you please just help me out?" And evidently somehow he ended up hog tying this poor woman that was trying to help him, and was going to drive her to the house and get rid of her the same way with his mother, and for no apparent reason other than he was having issues. And apparently he had a flat tire, and a redneck that was on the road saw her hogtied in the back, and hog-tied him down, held him down, and fortunately she did not go like his mother's. But that's in our town in the
yeah.
last 10 years.
Well, I'm happy that nothing like that's happened here. Although it can hit. It's like what you say. It can happen in a small town. Odd things do happen in these remote farms. Luckily, it hasn't happened here yet. And although I do remember, like when my father was growing up in Wisconsin, they lived in Krakow, Wisconsin, and the neighboring farm, the two boys on the neighboring farm had killed their third brother, who was kind of retarded. They killed them and buried him.
But word
Yeah.
is mentally handicapped.
Well, that's the word that they used at the time. And
Okay.
so there's just a lot of words we could use nowadays. But I mean, but that's the story we were told. And then when the father found out, they also killed the father and buried him somewhere. And but like any good town, someone became curious. In this case, it was the town priest who wondered why we haven't seen your father and brother in church for a
Oh
month.
no. Oh no.
So they got caught, and it was a weird thing. It's like one of those things you could actually you could do a movie about, where it's like, gee, what a screwed up family. I mean, that's just something that, I mean, my own family, I mean, we never even, rarely even hit each other. We never did any damage to each other. We certainly wouldn't have killed each other. It's just kind of, I don't understand it. I don't. Um,
Well, I you know,
but,
and it's funny, these things have been happening forever.
oh, yeah, since
But
Cain and
but
Abel,
but but now with all of the social networking and things like that,
Sure.
people just hear about them so much more.
Mhm.
I do believe though that, things like, one thing that I have not understood yet is why it's not good to spank your children, but your children can go watch videos on how to kill people.
Well, you know what? I think it's good to spank your kid if they earned it. I'm not saying beat the kid, but I will
No.
say, it's more about the humiliation of getting a spank in the butt if you're misbehaving. And I remember the solution for having a disrespectful mouth when I was a kid was a little
Oh,
slap
yeah.
in the face. Not
Yep.
a slap on the face that would leave a mark and make me lose a tooth, but it was some to let me know, don't ever do that.
Yep.
And
Me too.
so it didn't hurt me or damage me, and I don't think it's a bad thing, really. I
I would
just
say
don't. I think sometimes that kid earned a spanking, and
I would
I don't
say
believe in
most.
pulling out the belt. I think you should always
Yeah.
use your hand and never use an object, and never be angry when you're doing this sort of thing. Take a beat,
Yes.
then come back
I
to it.
I would say that I agree, and I don't think many people from our generation are much, they're not ruined people because they got spanked. They're not
Right.
people that had, problems. They're just, definitely people that are, um, we're probably a lot healthier than some of the people around now that are s- screaming about their brokenness because they had a slap in their face or something. But we're getting off subject. Yeah,
There
we're
are
getting.
worse things. And
I know.
you have your choice. Either you give the kid a slap on the face or a spank on the butt, or it's going to be law enforcement at some point in their life, and you're not going to be able to do a darn thing about it. you know
Right.
so, and besides that, the kid learns when they interact with other kids. That first day of school, if your kid if the you know if that kid is being nasty to another kid, he's going to find out right away. That other kid's going to pop him one, because that's how kids are. So it's
Yeah.
like, whether you learn how to behave like a human being. And if people never tell their child no, that person is going to grow up and be totally unmanageable, if not abusive. If somebody told them no, that they've never heard no, how dare you tell me no? It's just like, well, get used to it. I mean, you can't have everything you want. And besides that, saying no sometimes determines who your friends really are in life. If saying no to somebody, you can't do something, and that person writes you off, well, I guess that's what the friendship was all about then, wasn't it? You know.
Right.
So the people will have respect for someone who does say no to some things. That's just life. You can't have everything you want.
That's right.
you know.
And I do want to tell everybody that if you want to call in for a reading, the number is 602 666 6027. And you can also inquick your questions for Joseph and myself. I know that both of us, Joseph, also known as Lantern Bearer, is on Keen, right?
Yes, I am.
And I am also a keen reader, plus on Best Psychics Directory, plus an Angie List reader. So, you're in good hands.
And if you
So,
just want to, chit chat with me just for the heck of it, I'm also on Facebook as the Lantern Bearer. So
did you post the show there?
I do sometimes. Yeah,
Yep.
I put them
Okay.
up there for a time. I can't post the shows on Keen, however, and I can't even mention the other page on Keen because I did that before and they accused me of like
Yes,
spamming or
stealing
something.
business.
Yeah,
Yes, I
stealing
know.
business. It's like, well, gee, I mentioned Keen all the time, you
Right.
know.
And now the Keen has their own evidently radio show.
Yes, I heard about that, and it's relatively new, isn't it?
I have heard nothing more about it than the posting.
Yeah, I have not investigated, and I think what it is that you have to be invited or something, or apply for it or something, and I think they look at your popularity scores or something. I don't know how that works. But let's talk
No,
about Halloween. Let's talk
yeah.
about ghosts. You said you wanted to talk about like some hauntings and stuff,
Yes, I
and
was thinking if you have some scary stories to share with us. And also,
okay.
let's start this section of the show with an EVP,
Oh,
okay?
you have
And
one, huh?
this was one you sent me a
Oh, yeah.
while back, and I think this is the one.
That was taken off a site that had actual EVP recordings, and so I had downloaded that. Uh, f- and I think we played it a while back on an earlier show.
Mhm.
Um, Now, this is the sort of thing that you hear on those TV shows where they're always investigating some prison or mental institution or, oh, I'm
And
sorry. I'm sorry. Mentally, what's
challenged or whatever. Have you
the.
have you I've noticed that lately on some of the paranormal shows that there is a machine now, and it kind of reminds me of those things that they have on cell phones where you can see if there's a spirit around. Have you seen
I've
those?
seen
It's
that
some
little device that they've been using. I've seen them waving it around, and I don't really quite get it. How it works. I guess it's something that picks up a change in energy
Well, no,
or
they have a
energy
different
field.
one that they'll ask a question, and then if there is an the EVP, or
Yeah.
how to say that, that it will actually say the word,
Oh.
so either they'll be in a house, and then this one specifically has two guys in it. I forget the name of the show, but one has a mustache and a goatee and looks kind of like a youthful Satan, and
Oh.
the other one is more wholesome looking, and they're
Ah.
always going to places like one time they went to an island where grandfather's daughter died, and the whole island had nothing but little dolls all over it, and
Ooh.
dolls in the cabin, and
How
dolls
bizarre.
hanging on strings around the island. It was dedicated to her, but people say that when you go on the island, sometimes the dolls will start talking, go, Mama, Mama,
Dolls are
and
creepy
things
in
like,
general, actually, kind of.
that is, I never thought dolls were creepy, but that's what these guys said. Dolls are creepy. I don't know
They are
why dolls are
because
creepy.
you know what it is because they look they're made to look human, but there's no life in those eyes, and that's the creepy thing about it. They call that uncanny alley, where something is designed to look human, but in the process, without that spark of life in there, it's just a creepy thing. And I could go either way. I mean, I like dolls. I think they make a nice decoration, and I think they're also, some of them are works of art, really. And
Oh,
but for
yeah.
the most part, I don't particularly care for. Oh God, like why would anyone get a doll that looks like that one in that movie Annabelle? Why would anybody want that thing? I know I understand that the real Annabelle, and it is based on a real story. The real
I
Annabelle
don't know the story of
was
Annabelle.
okay. The real Annabelle was a doll that it was actually a Raggedy Andy doll, a Raggedy Ann doll that
Okay.
that had a strange things happening all around it. And today it's in a museum, or it's with whoever hidden, is watching. But it's in a locked case, and I think anyone could go and see it. But it's one of a few dolls, because there's a couple of dolls in history that are kept behind locked cases, because of the things associated with them, or things people
Really?
thought they saw it move, or yeah, someone claimed that it talked or something. And there's a few doll. If you go to a haunted dolls website, or if you even look up Annabelle
Haunted
herself,
Dolls website. Okay.
yeah, well, you could
Can
find,
everybody go to Haunted Dolls website?
yeah.
Haunted
If you
Dolls.
type in Annabelle, or type in the real Annabelle, then you'll come up with probably a whole slew of the other ones that are kind of like her. But of course, for the movie, they make this really ugly, scary looking doll, because actually, I don't think the makers of Raggedy Ann want that wonderful, sweet, charming product of
No.
theirs tarnished by,
Oh my
so, and I
gosh.
can't
Wait a
blame
minute.
them. I
I'm
can't
coming up with
blame them.
something here. It says this one is, they've got all these cute ones and then they've got one. Oh no.
Isn't there one called Robert too that's really scary? It's like a doll made out of canvas, and it's called Robert or Bobby or something.
Well, I don't know. They've got one here that says it says they've it's got Raggedy Ann next to it, and then it's got a girl with a really scary face, a doll with a scary face with
Okay,
real
the
wild
Raggedy Ann is
eyes,
actually,
red lips. Huh?
that was actually Annabelle.
That was
The Raggedy
Annabelle?
Ann. Yeah, yeah, but they couldn't use that doll for the movie. They didn't want to get sued by the makers of Raggedy Ann. Those sweet dolls that a lot of girls grew up with. They didn't want to tarnish that image just because one doll is possessed.
So that's supposed to be a real. It's because it says the real Annabelle doll. And
Yeah,
there's a story about it. So, yep, she's right here. It's very weird. Anybody that wants to look at the real, it says historyhollywood.com, real faces Annabelle, and it
yeah,
says basically it says how did the Annabelle movie is a spin-off prequel to The Conjuring, and it doesn't feature any of the human characters from The Conjuring. It instead
mhm,
focuses on the backstory of the doll that was in the possession of paranormal researchers Ed and Lorraine. And the
yes,
original story included a fictionized explanation of how a demon became attached to the doll, and it
uh,
also reveals how the doll came to be named after a deceased young girl named Annabelle Higgins. Lorraine Warren is pictured below with the real Annabelle doll.
I'd
Okay.
say it's not a. I saw the movie, by the way. It's not a bad movie, but I'm not going to get into a review of it. I mean, watch it and see what you think. It's not a full out. It's not a heads are rolling type of horror movie. It's very subtle, and it's more drama than anything else. but it has a few moments. Do not watch the trailer because all of those great moments are revealed in the trailer. And don't, if you
I
watch the
hate it when
trailer,
they do that.
the trailer ruins the movie in this case, because really there are very few starts and scares in this movie. And the thing is, in the trailer, they show everything. And then by the time you do see the movie,
You're
it's
bored.
really, yeah. So, and as for the other movie, The Conjuring, I thought that was really pretty scary. I mean, I thought it was pretty good, and I knew about Ed and Lorraine because they were paranormal researchers, and they were good because they also debunked a few hauntings. You know,
And I
if
think
they
that's
saw it
important.
was a problem with your pipes or something, they'd say, you know, your house is not haunted; it's your pipes. You know, so
Right.
they were not quick to jump on this, no, jump into conclusions and automatically start, you know, pulling out their exorcist tools, you know.
Right.
So, I mean, a good researcher will always be skeptical of the haunt, you know.
Right. Because so many people automatically assume. And I told you the story about the um, girl that thought that the beds were vibrating at
Yeah,
nighttime in the winter, and it turned out to be that the water pipes were ready to burst,
right.
and
Or it's
they
something like they live by a train, you know. So,
yeah, well,
yeah.
and they start
Those
hitting
currents of the walls.
crucifixes and all this. Yeah,
Yes. You
but
have to, you really, now, I mean, I believe in hauntings and in ghosts and all that, but I approach it with a scientific and a skeptical mind. I look for all the possible reasons that such a thing can occur. You know, now the house I live in is haunted. It used to be two houses, and they used to be two small coal miner houses in Cardiff, Illinois. Cardiff was a booming town, but in the early 1900s, there was a cave in and a lot of men died. And then that killed the town. Eventually, it just disappeared. The town has been taken over by farmland and forests. Most of the houses were moved, and this is one of them. It was moved here and then reattached and put on top of a nice basement. And that's one of the houses that we live in, no doubt. Cardiff is only about maybe 5 miles from here. I haven't been there yet, but it's going to be one of my little field trips. There's a few homes, there's a few people still living out there, but it's like nowhere's land. And you have farms, and you have things like sidewalks just leading to nowhere. And the streets have been taken over by, I mean, everything's gone. I mean, nature just took over this town. It is still on the map, but there is no town. There's like maybe three houses that are occupied, and everything else is gone. And it used to be a booming town 50 or so years ago. So, you know, it's
wow.
just really interesting. I don't know if it's haunted. I don't know if that area is haunted, but I do know areas can be haunted. DeKalb, Illinois, and all of DeKalb County, I believe that used to be an ancient burial ground at one time. And when the little towns popped up, the spirits kind of thought, I guess, oh, that's cool. But when they started to really build and put in a whole bunch of townhouses and student housing for the university all over the place, these towns all began to have strange things happen. You know, even haunts within the student housing. There have been reports of some flying winged creature, like wearing a
Hmm.
mask, you know, flying around their apartment at night, and small shadowy objects, possibly even what they call shadow people.
Oh
It was just
wow.
something that I don't quite understand, because shadow people apparently are not ghosts, but they're real, but they're shadows. So that's a whole other elemental. Actually, I'd say DeKalb County has more of an elemental haunting to it rather than ghosts. You know, elementals are creatures that were never human, but they do exist in our world interdimensionally. You know, um, they
That's
they
interesting.
yeah, they can make their presence known. They tend to be associated more with nature. So usually if you're
Oh,
disturbing something in nature, you're going to have more elemental activity, you know. If you
so
live with the nature, the elementals won't bother you probably.
is that the same thing as what happens when they say people do construction on their homes
Yes.
and all of a sudden, because one of my favorite, where I'll be reading on Halloween Day is as Marie Antoinette. I've got my wig and everything, and they're putting me in the front window of this big, it used to be the Masonic temple.
Oh, you'll be
and
out there.
and it's got about 3 or 4 different levels, a tattoo shop, a yoga studio. It's
Oh.
even got a bar in it, where very new agey bar. And then downstairs is Celia's Antiques. And she always laughs about her ghost. And
Mm.
she says that some people will say, now, were you in the building last night? Because the door will go boom and close, or there'll be footsteps running up the stairs, all kinds of weird things. But they always make fun of the woman. They think Celia says it's a woman, and
Hmm.
she calls her Rebecca or something. And she says she mostly loves to haunt the men's bathroom.
Huh. Well, where I used to work, we had a ghost that was always upstairs in the attic. They called her Attic Annie.
Attic Annie.
They believed that she was a student back when that administration building used to be one of the old schools. And actually, she became more active when they were renovating the building. They were digging all around the building because they had to stop it from sinking before they did any further things to it. And that day, some of the administrators called down to the front desk and demanded to know why there was a child running around up on the second floor because they saw a girl in a white dress run past their offices
Oh my
and they couldn't
gosh.
find her. It's like, oh, it's Annie. So when we knew about
Oh.
her, she might have been, one of the students back in the 1920s or something who, maybe she had died, and because kids caught lots of illnesses back then, and it's possible. And the
Oh,
college I went to is haunted by a ghost of a student named Emily. She was a young lady who was murdered elsewhere in town, but her body was dumped on the premises of where they were about to build the new college.
wow.
And she has only been seen by security people, though. The students have not seen her. But the guys that work at night, they had to admit that they saw something. They would see things like flashing lights or a blob of light in the hallway, and they'd see a shape, walking and moving, but not really clear. But it would freak them out. So
I
I've
can
been in haunted
imagine.
places my whole life. Really, it's just by coincidence, I guess. I grew up in a haunted house as well, so
You
I'm
want to
kind
take
of
a
used
reading?
to it.
Do you
We
want to
could do a
take a
reading.
couple of readings? We've got 23 minutes left.
Oh
And
dear.
so, probably it might be a good thing.
Sure.
Pretty sure
What do we
that
got?
yeah, yeah. So we'll start it out with this.
Oh wait, I should do my laugh. Wait, I should do my laugh.
Okay, wait. Here.
How was that?
Oh, that's good. That's good.
Oh, that's not.
Yeah.
You should wait until I really get going. Okay.
Okay,
You're
we're going to take
scaring
Emily
me.
from Hawaii. Hello, Emily. We're having fun. Are you having fun?
I am.
I am having fun. I love this show and I love this time of year, and I feel how you guys feel about it.
Good. It is, you know what? I try to be a person that is very angel um focused. But on Halloween I like to let my hair down.
Oh yeah, me too. It's a
Oh,
great
good.
fun.
Yeah.
So
Oh, shoot.
Joseph read for you, Emily?
I would like to know about when would be a good. I'm in New York right now, and when would be a good time to move to Philadelphia?
Okay.
What the cards
And
have.
we'll wait until the great Joseph gets done with his reading.
Well, I
Are you
would
ready?
say,
Oh, I
no,
love it.
I would say that are you, I get the impression that you're moving there because of a job or a job possibility or a hope of a job. I am seeing that in the past, things just kind of didn't go right. There were some past wrongs committed, and sometimes to you, or maybe something you did wrong is, a lot of times it would come right back in your face, and it's kind of an unfair thing. um, and I'm seeing, I saw that in the past, you kind of always had this inability to move forward. What I'm seeing here now at present is that I'm seeing a feeling that you kind of don't have, you don't feel as though you have a choice here, it seems like you kind of like really think that going to New York would be the best thing because of things not quite working out here. I am seeing that the change of
Well, I'm in
location
New
isn't.
York.
Pardon?
I'm
Oh, I mean
sorry.
from New York to Philadelphia, I mean, right?
Okay. Okay. Great.
Okay, the move in general. It doesn't really matter, the
The
location doesn't
move.
matter.
The
Yeah,
move.
I'm seeing that you're looking at it as a way of solving some issues, like some depression issues, possibly some dark moods that you're having, and that's not the reason to move. I would say wait, wait until, like, okay, if you can get through the winter, think about this more over the winter and then make your move in the spring if you're going to move, because that's also a time when job openings happen to the spring. And this will give
Hmm.
you time. This will give you time to really think about this move. Um, don't make this move to escape some issues or things that need to come within yourself. Okay, that's what I'm seeing in the cards. I'm seeing the cards saying, wait, work out these issues, these internal things going on. Make sure that the reasons why you're moving are really in the right place. And in the meantime, it wouldn't hurt to get that resume out there into Philadelphia. Make sure you have a secure job out there before you move there. Don't go there if you don't have any place to go. Okay?
Well,
Don't wing it. Okay?
can I ask one question about it?
Sure.
Part of the reason I'm going is I have major health issues, and there's someone I wanted to work with there. Would it benefit me to stay in New York, but just go there and work with this woman Nancy from a distance and just visit
Yeah.
her?
Try that for the winter.
Okay.
Okay,
Okay.
because you don't want to, because actually uprooting yourself is not going to help your health issues.
Oh
It-
boy.
That's
And
what.
and
you know,
and
Yeah.
do you remember the one that we always get the calls from Arizona, and she
right?
was in
We
a
we
she
can't
was
do the, yeah, we
yeah,
can't
and
do the health issues. But
yeah.
all I can tell you is, be careful with this. Don't jump into the fire from the frying
Hmm.
pan. If you are having
Okay.
health issues and this person could help you, try to see how that works, to maybe visit to have things done or something. But I can't even advise you on exactly having the things done because I don't know what the health issues are, and we're not medical personnel. We can't advise that, but we can advise you in the spiritual coaching sense. Like, is this a good move?
Hmm.
I would say it's not a good move for now, but if you can work this out
Okay.
with you staying put, okay, that might be a good thing to do. What do you think,
Okay.
Anne?
Does Philadelphia have some comfort zone to you? Is that a comfort zone? Because
I have family
when I
there.
put up
Yeah.
Philadelphia, the word trust comes through, and it's as if you have had something around that area before related to your past that felt healing to you.
Hmm.
Um,
Mhm.
but it but it says the biggest problems you're having right now, the first thing it says is that you're having problems with feeling with debt, or feeling that you can get out of debt in a way that would be able to give you a good smooth move. I don't see that happening. I
Yeah.
also show that you
Mm.
suffer from impatience, meaning that at times you love instant results. It's hard for you to wait for anything, and I think that's why Joseph's information is so vital, because you don't want to go somewhere before you've tried someone out. The other thing I see is that at this particular time, you have not necessarily given this health issue enough second and third opinions. The
Mm.
other thing I see is that you've been extremely tense, very much in anxiety. And between your sense of not really having enough money to move, being very impatient to get everything done at once, a sense that you feel that you have not necessarily contacted a lot of people about second or third opinions, and the tension that you've been feeling, all of these are attributing to the reason that I also would say, along with Joseph, do not move until you've actually had a chance to experience this person, and to wait until you've got the money and the security to do so.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's so helpful.
Yeah. Yeah. There are some things that you have to take action with, to deal with in your life before you're ready for the move, you know. But I
Okay.
do see that you will be taking action to stop trouble. So, you know, you're smart. Right.
Hmm.
So,
Mhm.
Yeah.
yeah, but I understand your confusion. It's like, do I stay? Do I go? And really, the cards are saying you need to work on some things here first.
Good.
You know,
I think that's
yeah.
very good words of knowledge. Thank you so much for that, Emily, and we appreciate it.
Thank you.
Bye
Okay, thank
bye.
you so much. Bye.
It's
Thank
interesting that
you.
her name is Emily. I was just talking about the ghost of Emily that haunts. Remember that
Oh,
one?
Emily the
Yeah,
ghost.
ooh,
Yeah.
odd
All
synchronicity.
right. Well, we have another two inside the in quick room, and the first one is Susan.
Susan with the
Susan
heavy
from
boots.
Massachusetts says, "Hello, Anne Marie and Joseph. I applied for a job as a gym. We've read for this one before, and would like to know if you see me getting this, or do you see anything else for me for work? Thanks so much,
Susan.
Susan."
Susan. Well, I'm seeing that in her past, she's always had to pay attention to details, and she is somebody who um, always has been very accurate and detailed in checking things and making sure all her eggs are in order. So, but I am seeing at the present time that her priorities might be kind of out of balance. I'm seeing that she's in a world, in a situation where people are playing for keeps, and that could be pretty serious. And it's not I don't know what kind of a job or what kind of people work there, but they they sound kind of unscrupulous. They don't sound very honest. Um, I'm saying, I am seeing that I'm saying that she will be able to work this out. I'm seeing that down the road, she is going to rise to the occasion. And I'd say she's got a good chance
Okay.
for this. But she's got to watch out what's going on around her right now. There's some really weird people in her place, and you got to kind of watch out for them. There's something odd about them. I kind of don't know what it is, but they're not just playing around. They're pretty serious about their stuff. Whatever it is, she needs to be careful with this. Uh, she's gonna be put in a position where some fast thinking is needed, and if she rises to this occasion, and I see her doing that, I see no reason why she can't get this promotion, or at least not be considered for next time or job. You know, but I do see her taking action and doing it.
May I ask you a question, Joseph? When you said something unscrupulous is happening,
Yeah,
I got something that says that just when she's doing well, that there's a feeling that I don't know why, but it shows a controlling person who seems out to be able to hurt her. And
yeah,
I don't know what that means other than perhaps this gym has a very competitive other um, gym person in there, and that for whatever reason this person is out for blood when they're in competing
yeah.
competition,
And you know
and
what?
that there's
It's
and
it's
the,
the kind it's the kind of competition that could hurt emotionally, to the point where she has to be careful that she doesn't let this situation send her onto a road of self-destruction. Like
mm,
don't let this person or these people drive you to drink or something, or making really bad emotional decisions that are not well thought out. Don't let them do this. She has to really be on the defensive, and I think she probably already feels as though she is on the defensive, because it's very competitive. She's not the only person going out for this. You
well,
know,
there may be
yeah.
somebody else already there
Yeah.
who, for whatever reason, by her being hired, starts to immediately feel intimidated.
Yeah, but it's funny. She is somebody who kind of gets a little bored when life is too easy. Um, but it shouldn't be this hard. Okay, it really this is actually what's going on now behind things, or maybe in her face. These are people who are not messing around, and they really want they're highly competitive, and they'll like probably like that. Who was that lady that oh, that ice skater that whacked that other her husband whacked the other one in the
Tanya?
shins with a
Was that
baseball. Yeah,
Tanya?
I mean, there are people that would do some really bizarre things, and she's got to watch out for that. Really, I wouldn't put it past them to do
Oh,
some
there may be
crappy
a
about that.
Tanya at this gym.
Yeah, there might be a
They whack
Tanya
you.
there, or someone like that. But you know what? I do see her prevailing. I do see Susan prevailing here.
Oh, I think so too.
She will take action. She will. She always has things. She always knows what she's doing. But just don't let this thing cause you to spiral into your own self-destruction. Don't let that happen. Yeah,
Don't trust the wrong people.
exactly.
Don't trust the wrong people at this job,
Mhm.
because just because there is a very go with the flow type quality about you, but there are not very many go with the flow people
Yeah,
competing with you. And because people can be nasty, it is the go with the flow sensitives that often get their asses kicked by the competition.
yeah. It's happened to me.
That's happened to me.
And I
Yeah.
saw it coming, and I couldn't stop it. But I'm still here. So look,
That's right.
yeah,
Life is for the learning. Well,
absolutely.
Marjorie says, hello, Anne Marie, and to you, Joseph.
Hi,
I would
Marjorie.
like a reading about my finances over the next 6 months. Thank you both very much.
Ooh, finances.
and then Marjorie can read on my finances. And
Wouldn't that be nice? Well, I don't blame her for wanting to know,
oh
really.
no, not at all. It's
Yeah.
nice to have some projection on that.
Well, I'm seeing
I
that she's gotten hit with something not long ago. I'm seeing like a disaster, the tower. Lightning striking the tower, and it's collapsed. It was something that could have been a natural disaster, or it could have just been some really bad choices. But I do see that that's in her past. And what I am seeing here is, oh, yeah, I mean, she wants to succeed. I am seeing the upside down Knight of Pentacles, and that is somebody who really, really needs financial security and has been working really hard. So I am saying that in the future, she's just going to she has a lot of details to deal with. And she is advised to keep a big view of the big picture, and don't let little things distract or smoke screen you from seeing the whole picture. Okay, you might need to back up a little bit to see it, because you're going to have a lot of choices coming your way, and then over the next 6 months, and sometimes it's too many choices, and you're going to need some more clarity and direction. But I do see you working out a strategy and sticking to it. And that's what and if you do that, it will work out fine. Your finances will improve if you research carefully. Don't jump to things, and like I said, don't get distracted by little things, clouding that big picture before making that decision. But I see you handling it. I see you going for some radical new ideas and thinking outside the box. I'm seeing you make a choice in that way, and I see that working out for you.
sounds good to me. I think that maybe we should use the rest of our time to suggest ways to clear energy in houses. Do you
Well,
have any favorite way that you clear energy in houses,
um,
Joseph?
I do a low key thing, but I know when I first came here, I usually do a smudge stick. I light I burn some sage, some white sage in a flame-proof container, of course, and I let that smolder a little bit, and it fills the house. And if you don't like the idea of burning smoke, some white sage oil. You can get that at a health food store, and you can put that in a little oil burner, so it's a little cleaner. It's a bit nicer. Um, I would say if you really feel that you just want to really cleanse that house before you live in it, I'd say on your first day, take some chopped okra. It could be frozen, doesn't matter. It's a few pieces of it. Put it in a jar full of water and leave the jar outside overnight. Okay. And in the morning, dump it out by a tree. Then light a black candle and go from room to room, starting in the basement, and just walk around with this black candle. And this should be done in the morning. Okay. Do it in the daylight. And you go into every room, and that's what you do. And at night, it's burn some white candles, you know, and that should do it. Now, if you have a real problem, there's other measures you can take that are a lot more, extreme. And it helps to have a crystal, and I have a little one here, just a little one. I carry this around with me, and I have it at my bedside.
There's another, though, a lot of times, feng shui clearers. And now they say that real estaters in the really posh apartments in big cities do hire people to clear energy from apartments now in a feng shui way.
Oh, I'm
And
sorry. You know what? Let me cut in just for a moment. Before
uh,
dumping that okra by the tree, Okay,
Mhm.
you dip a cloth in it. This is the important part. I left it out. After
Oh,
it's been
okay.
sitting out all night, you dip a cloth in it and you wipe the thresholds of the entrances of your home. Then you take the okra and you throw it out by the tree. Okay, there you go.
That's pretty detailed. I'm gonna have to write that down on the
Yeah,
blog.
yeah.
Another thing that you may, this is an article. It says, "Have you ever gone into a house or building and not felt comfortable? If you have
Yes.
moved house and since noticed you suffer more ill health, accidents, arguments, lose things, or break things, perhaps you need to clear it of negative energy." And one of the ways it says people do it is sea salt is commonly used in feng shui to get rid of
Yes.
negative energy and allow a balanced chi to follow inside the home. The sea salt is either used alone or mixed with water and placed in certain areas of the home. Mix 5 to 6 tablespoons of sea salt in a bucket of water and mop the floors with the mixture. Or you can place a bowl filled with sea salt in each corner of the house, which faces the northeast and southwest directions. The bowls of salt should be left in an open space and not placed in a cupboard. It should be replaced every 2 months. Another thing about smudging, make sure that when you are smudging with, is white sage the preferred one, Joseph?
It's always been white sage.
Yeah.
Even with the Wiccan tools, it's white sage. Um, that's just the
Yep.
one of choice, and so that's what I use. Um, and you don't have
And
to
it's a,
burn the whole stick. You don't have to. A lot of times you have it comes in a stick. You don't have to light the whole thing on fire. You can just break some pieces off it, and light those, and put it in like a little, flame-proof bowl or something. But you don't want to end
okay,
up
and
burning
it's an
yourself down.
important to
Yeah.
go in every doorway and in
Hmm.
every corner of the room with your smudging stick.
Oh yeah, and it doesn't
Make
help to kind
sure.
of surround yourself with it too. That's why
Yeah.
it
Okay,
kind
we're
of
done with the
just
show. We gotta go.
happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween. Bye, Joseph.
Bye bye.
Psychic radio, holistic radio, spiritual radio.